back to Running Rampant on BronxNet in association with Fordham Athletics. And happy holidays. This edition, Thanksgiving week and a college basketball special. We have a semester in the books, and whether in person or virtual, it's been a challenging time for the Fordham community. We'll have our regular check-in with Interim Director of Athletics Ed Cole. Hoop season is off and running. Plenty to dive into, including two segments today with Fordham women's basketball head coach Stephanie Gately. We'll preview the season, and then she'll bring on Fordham volleyball head coach Ian Choi for Coach G's Corner. We look ahead to the men's basketball season with head coach Jeff Neubauer, and then we reflect on past Fordham basketball glory with alums David Buckner and Kenny Charles. But let's begin with Interim Director of Athletics Ed Cole, our first in-person sit-down here on the show.
Welcome back. This is our AD update. We're outside of Jack Coffey Field here on the Rose Hill campus at Fordham. Emmanuel Barbari, joined by Fordham Interim Director of Athletics Ed Cole. Ed, this is our first sit-down not on Zoom this year, so great to see you.
Great to see you. Great to see you, Manny. Great to be with you. Great to not be virtually discussing things with you, so great to see you in person, of course.
Absolutely, and done with the semester, getting people home for Thanksgiving. All the non-basketball programs got through an entire semester of practice and workouts. How do you reflect on the semester that was?
So yes, we stand here Friday of Thanksgiving, and very lucky and very blessed. So all workouts and practices have been concluded, non-men's and women's basketball, of course. And to have 100 days of workouts and practices and testing, we had eight positives, 4 student athletes, 4 staff members. And if you would have told me that in August during one of our interviews, Manny, I'd say we'd be very lucky and blessed to be in that situation. So very positive.
And now you look ahead to a basketball season for the men's and women's programs. Ed, a lot of programs around the area have had their obstacles. They've had to shut down here and there. They've had to reset. What remains the biggest challenge to having a productive and successful basketball season?
Yeah, so as you know, we're learning every day about some of the challenges of COVID, and especially with men's and women's basketball, the indoor sports, one positive within Tier 1 shuts down the entire program for 14 days, and then is a 5 to 7 day recovery for our student athletes. So it's really almost a 21-day window, which makes it real challenging, even compared to what we're seeing in college football, where they're allowed to have multiple positives. So we continue to implement daily, obviously, vital checks, temperature checks, aggressive testing 3 times a week now. And that includes our rapid antigen as well as our PCR testing. Both Coach Neubauer and Coach Gately have been super proactive in trying to maintain their internal bubble. The university continues to be extremely supportive from University Health Services and Father McShane's leadership. As I said, we've been lucky this semester with only 8 positives for the entire department. Hopefully we're able to continue to have that success through the basketball season. I know a lot of schools around us have had challenges, and we hope our protocols and our safety maintains that. And I think what will really be hopeful for the basketball season is a quieter campus. So the campus now shuts down, won't reopen until February 1st, allows hopefully a successful internal bubble window for men's and women's hoops. And our local non-conference is bus travel only. No hotels, no air travel, only local matchups.
You mentioned a quieter campus, and that speaks to the fact that all the other programs are going through a layoff now until February 1st, as you mentioned, when everyone returns to campus. What are some of the ways that those student athletes are going to stay engaged during this
Great
time?
question, and so important to us as we continue to monitor the mental health of all of our student athletes. As we know, the challenges of COVID, not only the virus for family members, the political unrest, the social unrest, the social injustice issues. So we continue to provide engagement opportunities with guest speakers, virtual engagements. We are emphasizing a lot on career services with alumni guest speakers, talking about some of their career aspirations. And we've also, I'm excited to continue to talk about some of the brand development pieces. We know a lot about name, image, and likeness. We know a lot needs to be decided in the next few months, the next year, state by state as well as NCAA, but we want to make sure our student athletes are best prepared for that opportunity. So Jeremy Darlow was kind enough to make us the first Atlantic 10 and Patriot League school. Partnership with him, he will provide consulting on brand building and brand development for our student athletes. That curriculum will begin over this break and for the next 2 months. And then we're excited, I'll give you a little bit of exciting information. We're about to enter into a partnership with Influencer, which will help all of our student athletes develop the skills and training to best utilize and develop their brand, primarily on social media, and not only for their athletic careers, their post careers, so the next 40 years, not just the current 40 years. So we're excited about those initial steps that are all student development based, that could really help engage and take advantage of some of this time away from our student athletes.
Add exciting developments. Best of luck for this upcoming basketball season, and great to see you.
Manny, pleasure to be with you in person. Go Rams!
Awesome sitting down with Ed. So refreshing to be back on campus with live competition back underway. What can we expect from those basketball programs, though? WFUV's Jackson Heil chats with women's basketball head coach Stephanie Gately, junior captain Caitlin Downey, and sophomore Sarah Carpel. It's Gately's 10th season at Fordham, 7 20-win seasons, 2 Atlantic 10 titles. What's in store for this unique season? Jackson, take it away.
Jackson Heil alongside head coach Stephanie Gately. Coach, pleasure to be with you as
It's always a pleasure with you, Jackson.
You mentioned obstacles, everyone's going through them right now, and specifically for you as a coach, what's been the biggest challenge just with really not knowing what lies ahead in terms of the resemblance of what is going to be a season?
Well, I mean, never have we been in a position October 23rd to not know what our schedule is that year. You know, we're still jockeying, positions for certain games just because of restrictions and the hot states and the quarantine issues in New York. So there's still a lot of jockeying. That's a big obstacle we're facing. The two biggest challenges in coaching, now obviously the on-court stuff to me is the easy part, is usually scheduling and recruiting. Recruiting, I think we've done a fantastic job, and I'm going to give the credit to the coaching staff. I think they've worked really hard, and I think as a group we've done a super job of attaining some high-level recruits. But really the scheduling one has been, a difficult one just because of, the restrictions and the parameters.
Let's focus on the on-court stuff. Obviously a similar team to what you had a year ago with players growing up, and bringing in 5 newcomers though as well. Let's talk about Anna DeWolf right now. You talked about her a few weeks ago being someone who's really stood out in the preseason. How much has she grown as a player, and what's been the thing you're most impressed with her about?
One, I think she came back stronger, which is, a big part of the college game is, she's thin, and last year she got pushed around a little bit. Even one game, one of the coaches said, get in the weight room to her. One of the opponent
Wow.
said to her on the sideline, get in the weight room,
Jeez.
which added some fire to Anna, and that might have been one of the motivators this summer. So I think she's done a really good job of with Josh of improving, strength in her game. Leadership, so another an intangible, that you can't physically see, and she's done an outstanding job with that. She's one of our top vote getters for captain, and that's a really impressive thing considering she's only a sophomore. And just, with Bryson gone, now all of a sudden we need somebody to step up.
Yep.
And Anna has been willing to take that lead, and she's good with taking that last shot that typically, last year we went a different direction. So I think that is a great situation for us.
You mentioned Bryson's gone. You have 2 missing pieces from last year, but you bring in 5 new pieces as well with 5 new freshmen. How much of a role do you expect them to play this year, and how have they fared so far with this crazy preseason that's happened?
I think the freshmen, first of all, they're a really tight unit, which I think is great because chemistry has a lot to do with any team's success, and I think that's something we've built our, kind of hung our hat on. And I like what I'm seeing of the freshmen. A big part that they're trying to learn is the game speed at the next level, and not knowing that you have to go hard every single second. Because again, you come from high school and you're the best player, and nobody's really telling you to do anything wrong. That's typical of the high school kid, and they come in here and we're like, you're not the best player and you're not going hard enough. And so therefore there's that adjustment as well as being away from home and what have you, and living in a pandemic, so I'm excited about what some of the freshmen will bring. Bailey will be a red shirt, so we won't anticipate obviously anything from her at this point, but I think Miranda Nyberg has done some really nice things along, with Riley and Matilda, which we call Tilly.
Sarah, first week of practices officially in the book. How's it been?
It's been going really well. Everyone's been working really hard. We've been getting after each other, talking to each other, going as hard as we can. Everyone's doing extra workouts, doing everything they can to stay ready for the season, even though we don't exactly know when that will begin yet.
Obviously unprecedented times for sure, and
Yeah.
probably a very unique preseason for you guys. What was the biggest challenge for you personally, trying to make sure that you would stay ready even with so much uncertainty?
Just trying to keep my head in it, focus on what's important, just trying to work out every day, do what I can to keep myself ready, even though we obviously don't know what's going to come, but just trying to stay ready, and I know everyone on the team's been doing the same.
And Jackson Heil joined by junior captain Caitlin Downey. Caitlin, pleasure to be with you as always. How's everything?
Great to be here, thank you.
Obviously, first week of practices now in the books. What's it been like now knowing that it is officially here and you're really gearing up for the season now?
It's really, really exciting. I mean, for a long time we're in this waiting period, what's it going to be? And now that we're in the gym, our intensity is picking up. We know there's a goal ahead of us, and we're setting out for November 25th, and we're excited.
Caitlin, there's obviously a lot of challenges for everyone going through what everyone has had to go through with COVID-19 and obviously a very unprecedented preseason. What's been the biggest obstacle and challenge for you making sure you're staying motivated with so much uncertainty that lies ahead?
I think it's just the mindset. I mean, the mental game is the biggest challenge I think a lot of us are facing. We compete every day on the court, but then sometimes the realization comes in that there's not always certainty in what we're competing for. But we have changed our mindset that we're looking forward to November 25th with serious intent, and we just have to go with a day-by-day intent to get better each day.
What's the biggest thing that you've learned through this process, going through last year and now really being the individual leader going into this season?
I think having a year underneath my belt gave me a lot of confidence, and being a leader, you have to be confident even when you don't feel it inside. And that's one thing I'm specifically working on this year, is even if I'm not feeling it that day, no one has to know that. And just bringing the intensity. We have a lot of upperclassmen that are great leaders in themselves, so just being able to work together, communicate at all times, and just effectively lead those freshmen.
You talked about improvements. You've made a lot of strides on the court and as a leader, like we talked about. What's the biggest thing you're looking to improve on the court, whether it's a personal goal or a team goal this year?
I think communication. I mean, it's always an area that can be improved by any leader. Whether I'm tired, whether I'm not feeling great that day, it's crucial no matter what stage you're at to always be communicating, always be talking through plays, being that assistant, being that helping hand for others.
Great insight there from Coach Caitlin and Sarah. Let's head right back to Coach. Fordham Volleyball head coach Ian Choi is the next guest on Coach G's Corner.
Yeah, Ian, great pass, baby.
Appreciate that, Coach.
All right, guys, this is our Fordham women's volleyball coach with us today. So, Ian, I was looking at some of your background, very diverse, like San Jose State, played on a great Texas team.
Yeah.
Kind of take us through that.
Yeah, for sure. I've been very privileged and fortunate to be able to surround myself with high-level volleyball. I started at Texas. I originally was studying to be a mechanical engineer. It wasn't until, we'll get a little personal here, that just to be simple and straightforward, that my mother had a bout with breast cancer, and she's fine, by the way. And it wasn't until that kind of made me realize, life is fleeting, it's finite, and you need to do what you love. So I had the opportunity. Texas is a powerhouse of a volleyball team. Jared Elliott there, the head coach, he directed me to Kansas at KU, which they have an awesome basketball team, by the way, right? I had an opportunity to go there for a little bit, learn a little bit over there. Then I went to San Jose State. And then I had the privilege and fortune to be offered the assistant position here initially, and then afterwards I had the opportunity to compete for the head job, and I was very fortunate in achieving that.
You've done a great job with the kids. You can obviously see some great things happening. Take us through the pandemic of how you guys have adjusted with no season and dealing with the pandemic.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a challenge. And I'd say the biggest challenge that I'm sure you're all too familiar with is the uncertainty, dealing with the uncertainty of like when your schedule is coming out, what your practice, when the report day is. But I think just like we practice what we preach, right? We try and stay present. We always try and stay prepared, and we want to make sure that we're continuously adapting. And those are definitely values that we have in our program. And obviously, if some of our student athletes struggle, which inevitably they will, I believe, based on how hard it's coming down on them, we are there to support them.
No, and that's a great attitude to have. I mean, I'm dealing it from, obviously, we're having a season. You're not, and we're trying to make sure that, we're diligent with practicing all the protocols so that we don't have to shut down at any point, which is it's not easy to say these college kids. I have a son that's a senior playing for the University of Richmond, and what are you doing this weekend? In our rooms again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your typical year,
Correct,
so I mean that's what makes it different. What made Fordham special for you? Why Fordham?
there are a lot of colleges, universities out there that are just smack dab in the middle of nowhere. And I've had the fortune to experience that on all spectrums, right? I've been in Austin, Texas, which is a great city. Lawrence, Kansas, which is a small town. There wasn't a lot going on there. Kansas City is right nearby. So, and then the Bay Area, which is a great city. I'm just attracted to big cities, the diversity, the culture, all the food. I'm a big foodie. And I was super lucky and fortunate that Fordham happened to be an opportunity for me to participate in my career.
Well, speaking of Austin, my son just got married, and his name it was in Austin
really?
in August, and that.
What venue?
It's a new hotel. I think it's called the Revel. It's brand new. It's opened downtown in the city. Yeah, downtown. Okay. It just opened like within this year.
Yeah.
And he married a definite, was it Longhorn?
A Longhorn.
Yeah.
It's
so
similar to the Rams.
They have season tickets to football. I mean, they just are crazy. Yep. I mean, crazy, fans of the Longhorns. But they, I loved Austin. I thought Austin was a great,
Austin will always have a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I just, we didn't get to go along that one street, the College Street.
Yeah, 6th Street. Yeah. Oh, and Guadalupe. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great town.
It was limited what we could do, but Ian, I just wanted to thank you for being here. But I just think these things are so important with camaraderie and making sure that we're always connecting as coaches, and that the players and the athletes see, that cohesion. And
Absolutely.
I just want to congratulate you on your success.
Thank you.
And hopefully we continue to work together through this pandemic, and wish you all the best.
For sure. Thank you. Go Rams.
A full dose of Coach Gately today, and we wouldn't have it any other way. But time to turn our attention to the men's basketball team on campus. A tough 2019-2020 season gained momentum near the finish line, cut short by coronavirus. Let's head back inside the Rose Hill Gym for our second preview of the day.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. First official day of practices around the nation for college basketball. Season opener, November 25th. Emmanuel Barbari joined by Fordham men's basketball head coach Jeff Neubauer. Coach, how's it feel? How refreshing is it to be back in the gym?
It is good to get back in the gym. And as I've mentioned before, college basketball has become a year-round sport. However, up here in New York, it's not so this year. And so the normal summer workouts that we're used to, working out our team, helping guys to improve, it just didn't happen this summer. So this year, it does feel like college basketball 30 years ago, when coaches really couldn't touch their players until October 15th. Well, that's basically what we have this year.
As you mentioned, it's been a very challenging time throughout the country. What's been your message to the team throughout all of these difficulties entering the practice time?
Well, in general, in the spring and the summer, we just wanted our guys to be safe. And so we really encouraged guys to do everything they could to keep themselves healthy. Now that we're back on campus, we're still promoting that message. So important that our guys don't allow what's happening at other schools to happen here. With that being said, it's time to also build a team. And so we're working to try to become a more unified and better basketball team here on the court.
Coach, in order to build that team moving forward, you have 3 newcomers joining the fold this year: Julian Dozier, Yami Butler, Albie Evans. How have they adjusted to this different time?
Well, they do have a lot to learn, and they've actually done really well so far. The challenge for them is that they didn't have all that lead-in. They didn't have the normal preparation of a college basketball season. Also, we have told our team we are hitting the ground running. In a normal year, I really like to start at the beginning. I like to coach our guys, even the veterans, as if they've never learned anything about basketball before. This year, we've taken a different approach. We have a lot of veterans who understand how we guard, how we play, and so those 3 guys you mentioned are really trying to just keep their heads above water.
One of those veterans now, Joel Soriano, entering his 2nd season, really finished last year very strong. What improvements have you loved in Joel's game?
Really thrilled with the way Joel finished the season. What he was physical, and that really developed as the season went along. His skill set really improved as the season went along. He caught the ball, he finished the ball. His hook was so much better. So Joel has made himself a very important part of our program, and he's earned every bit of it. He really has become one of the focal points at the offensive and defensive end.
Coach, last year, a difficult year. You're looking to build this program moving forward. If there's one area the team needs to thrive this year to get where you want to be, what's that one area?
So we talk about this with our team. It happened about 3 times today in the first practice. But to be great, we have to be a great defensive team. And so last year, we were really, really, really good. I mean, we were terrific at the defensive end. We can't do that this year. We've got to literally be one of the 10 best defensive teams in the country. At the offensive end, we have to get a shot up on every possession. We are going to make threes this year. We're going to be such a good shooting team. We do have great post presence with both Onyi and Joel. We have got to make sure our value for the ball is at a high level.
Coach, thanks a lot for your time. Good luck in practice leading up to the season opener.
Yeah, thanks, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel Barbari alongside sophomore forward Joel Soriano. Joel, how's everything going?
Well, how are you? I'm good.
How's everything been this fall, adapting to what's been a very new normal on campus?
At first it was very tough. We weren't with each other for like 6 months, so us getting back in the groove and everything. It's been tough, but I feel like we're starting to build our chemistry and get back to normal.
You mentioned those 6 months that were very challenging for everyone throughout the country. How difficult was it to stay in game shape and get ready for a time like this?
At first it was very tough. I mean, I was working out a little bit at home, but I know everybody didn't have an opportunity to get in the gym. So at first our conditioning was very bad. We started off with one-on-one workouts, but we slowly built it up. And I feel like we're getting back in the groove.
Joel, you're one of the key players entering the year, finished last year very strong, culminating with that performance in the Atlantic 10 tournament, 14 points, 12 rebounds against DW. What changed in the middle of that year that allowed you to thrive?
I feel like the game got slow for me. I feel like my teammates started to trust me more. I built more confidence in myself, and coach kept it up front with me. He told me that he needs me to score the basketball, and I lived up to the challenge.
If there's one area of your game you want to improve for this year, what would that be?
I feel like my leadership needs to be better. I feel like me, Jay Cobb, we lost AP, we lost Godley, so we need to build up our leadership skills.
Joel, thanks for the time.
Appreciate you.
Back with junior guard Jalen Cobb. First day of practice, Jalen, how was it getting back out with the team?
It was great to get on the court and compete with my teammates. It was great. The intensity was good. Everything was good.
The team returns a lot of its mainstays from last year, but loses one of its leaders, Antoine Portley. How much of a leadership role have you taken on?
I was taking on a big leadership role coming to my junior year. Just talking to the young fellas and just leading by example and leading with my voice.
That time from April to July where not a lot was going on, how much did it take to keep yourself in a rhythm and get ready for a moment like this?
It didn't take a lot because I was ready. I knew this time would come eventually, so I just wanted to be available for my teammates and just be the best player I can be coming into my junior year.
One of your signature moments last year, 22 points against George Washington right here at Rose Hill. Where do you want to be on the floor to produce that consistently? Where's your comfort zone?
My comfort zone is, I think, mid-range and from the three. Just being able to create off closeouts, off pick and roll, reads and everything like that. Just being a good player.
What's one improvement you want to make into this year?
My decision making and just being more vocal with my teammates and my coaches.
Jalen, thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Should be fascinating to see how Fordham fits into a competitive Atlantic 10. Also exciting to see some local battles headlining the out-of-conference slate. Big thanks to Coach Neubauer, Joel Soriano, and Jalen Cobb. Jalen had a chance to sit down with men's basketball alums David Buckner and Kenny Charles. Memories from two of the greatest Fordham basketball seasons as part of our Ramley bonding series, 1990-91 and 1970-71. We continue to honor the 1990, 1991, and 1970-1971 Fordham Rams, and we bring in a couple members from those teams. Kenny Charles, part of the NCAA tournament team in 1971. David Buckner, part of the Patriot League title team in 1991, and they're joined by current Fordham basketball junior Jalen Cobb. Guys, thanks for being here.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks for having me. What year are you in?
I'm a junior.
Oh, good. Yeah, just get ready. One of the things that I always used to concentrate on, is kind of late now, was that whatever was a weakness in March was a strength in October. So I always self-assessed my game, especially for the college games, because a lot of zones and you got to know what to do. And I was a scorer. So you had to know where the shots were and be able to go both hands either way, be able to shoot from any place. And it's all mental. It's all confidence. It's all confidence. And just work on your game. Just work on your game.
I got you.
Yeah. And I'm a freewheeling kind of guy when it comes to ball, man. Just play.
That's cool.
Yeah, just play. One of the things, unfortunately, in college is that it's kind of rigid. It's kind of coach-oriented. And I was blessed to have coaches that, at least with Digger, who really allowed us to play. We didn't really have an offense till maybe the first week of November, because he didn't know what people could do yet.
Right.
So once he saw what we could do, then we created an offense based on everyone's strength.
Jalen, how much further along are you in that regard right now in terms of the team coming together and everyone knowing each other's strengths?
Yeah, so we basically got a lot of the same pieces from last year. We got 2 freshmen that came in. So this year it was just we went right into it when we started practice. So we went right into it. So coach has been bringing back plays, and we just know it already. And defensively, we know the concepts. We're a defensive team, so in practices, the new guys just have to understand what we're doing. So we just picking it up and just going.
How's the offense?
The offense, it's getting better. I feel like this year we getting it in, getting it out. Everybody came back. We shooting it better, so that's good too.
David, you were part of a special time at Fordham in those early 1990s postseason runs. What was something you learned back in the 90s that you pass along to this year's team?
I mean, and again, I don't know what it's like trying to play through a pandemic, but I was always kind of flexible with whatever was coming my way. I mean, I was sort of a pure shooter, so I had a specific role in the team. But that year, my sophomore year, I was coming into my second year there. My freshman year, I hadn't really had much of an impact. And Sanford Jenkins got hurt in the third or fourth game there, and I got a shot at playing a small forward. I'm kind of small for the small forward, but it really worked out well because that put me on the side with Damon Lopez, who was a really dominant player down low, and I think I helped him because I was shooting over 40% from 3, so they couldn't drop down on him and double team him. But overall, we didn't really know what to expect coming into that year. We had gone from the MAC the year before, which is a pretty tough conference back then. We had a bunch of scholarship players obviously coming back, and we're going into the Patriot League, which was financial aid. So we kind of once we got to that point, we sort of dominated that league. But
thanks so much for stopping by for another episode of Running Rampant, presented by United Healthcare. Thanks once again to our guests, Ed Cole, Coach Gately, Caitlin Downey, Sarah Carpel, Ian Choi, Coach Neubauer, Joel Soriano, and Jalen Cobb. And also a special thanks to alums David Buckner and Kenny Charles for joining Jalen Cobb on our Ramily bonding segment. And finally, thanks to everyone at BronxNet and Fordham Athletics who pitched in to make this episode possible. It's college basketball time, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.